Hello, my love. Welcome to the podcast. Today we have a firecracker of a guest, the incredible Mel Abraham. Mel is a CPA by education, but an entrepreneur at heart. He is the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Entrepreneur's Solution, Modern Millionaire's Path to More Profit, Fans, and Freedom. But today he is joining us because he is celebrating his second book, Build Your Money Machine, how to get your money to work harder for you than you did for it. Oh my gosh. This conversation with Mel was so incredible. I wish I had 10 hours to speak to him. He just shared so many stories about how he came into having his money mindset, about how to speak to your children about money, the incredible story about him getting cancer and like realizing what he realized about money and wealth, turning on his money machine so his family and him didn't have to worry. I mean, this man is absolutely incredible. He teaches these frameworks and principles. We talk about habits and the things that right now you may be doing that are stopping you from building your money machine. He's built and sold numerous multi-million-dollar businesses for himself as well as his clients. He is literally globally recognized thought leader, business advisor, CPA, and financial expert. He shares stages with Fortune 500 companies, Ariana Huffington, Charlene Johnson, Brendan Burchard, El Milet, Amy Porterfield, who we love, and Tony Robbins. Mel is a boss. He is incredible at what he knows. And more than anything, which you will hear in this episode, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you will feel his heart. He's got a beautiful heart, humble, kind man. I love following him on Instagram, watching him walk his dogs on the beach and just share his money advice, especially right now. I don't know about you, but things feel a bit crazy financially for so many people. And so this episode, this book could not have come at a better time. I cannot wait for you to listen to this episode. And do me a favor, click the link in the show notes. Make sure you order the book because his book just came out today. So Mel, congratulations on your book launch. I cannot wait. My copy is on its way. Enjoy this episode, you guys.
Hola, hola. It's your girl, Erica from America. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles podcast. This podcast is all about helping you stand in who you are. Stop giving a fuck what people think about you. Start standing as your fully expressed self. As you are, queen, as is. There is no filter needed. You are fucking awesome. And I am here to remind you, I'm a confidence coach, a business mentor, a speaker, an author, and I am obsessed with women standing up, showing up, and creating their confidence. And I cannot wait to dig into today's episode with you.
Mel Abraham is on the podcast. Hello, my friend. Welcome.
Oh my gosh. How are you? So good to be here.
I know. I'm so excited to chat with you. Building Your Money Machine is out today at the time of us releasing this episode. How freaking exciting.
Oh my God. It's surreal that it's actually out. I'm like going, oh my God, it's crazy.
So much work goes into writing a book, my friend. I just turned in my first draft and I'm just like, why do we do this to ourselves? It's so painful.
The reality is that the thing that made it easier for me was I started because I was stressing out. If you saw me in February, you'd have gone, oh, you need to see a doctor. You need a massage, something,
Yeah.
But when I realized that, hey, the day it comes out is actually the beginning, not the end. It's not the finish line. It's the starting line. It's like, now we get a chance to do the journey in the book and everything. I go, we got time.
It's crazy too, because it takes so much of your soul when you're writing a book. Yeah. And this is the best part. I think this part here where everyone's wanting to interview you and ask you questions about this. I know for me, when I was reading through the book, I'm just like, I wish I had this book growing up. It's so important, the information that's in here. And I know that all the recession and all the crazy, what do you feel? You speak to some of the best people in business. You go on some of the biggest stages. You've had an incredible career yourself in money and in business. What do you feel in the United States right now the feeling is around money and recession and fear and all of that?
The reason I wrote the book was because I was keynoting at a conference. So there was 2,400 people there, and I got done, and the promoter says, "Hey, I got time. Would you do a Q&A?" And I did a Q&A for 30 minutes, and I got off stage, and I looked at him. I said, "Do you feel the stress, the angst, and the uncertainty and the fear in the audience?" And he said, "Yeah." But so that's the reason I wrote it was to try and deal with it. I think that what's happening, and here's the challenge. Look, and in the U.S., especially now, when we have a carnival going on in November called the election. So, and so they're going to do everything they can from a media standpoint, social media standpoint, to make sure that everything looks rosy. But the fact of the matter is, when I talk to people, I said, "Have you been to the grocery store?" And they go, "Yeah." "Is it costing more?" "Yeah." Sometimes it's not costing more, but they're giving you less. So it's the same thing. Yeah. And I said, "Go to the gas pump." The bottom line is, I think that we're actually in not technically a recession, but there's this silent recession because it's harder for people to live and pay for things when you have interest rates where they're at, prices where they're at, and the uncertainty of what's going to go on. Yeah, the stock market's up, but that's one aspect. That's not the economy. That's not the world that everyone lives in every day. Yeah. So I think it's really something that's prevalent.
Do you feel like this in Australia? We've felt it as well. This post-COVID world, like they just messed up all the financial shit, and now my friends that make 7 figures are like, "Oh my God, money's tight, cash flow's changing, holy shit!" And me and Hamish haven't changed the way that we've lived our lives ever. When we had lots of money, when we didn't have money, we just no Gucci bags and all the big expenses, right?
Yeah.
But some of these people have done that, and now they're like, "Oh, like revenue and profitability is not the same thing, y'all." Like it's wild.
Yeah, it is really wild. I think we got, when things feel good, we get sloppy. And that's what I think happened. And it's and wealth creation and money, it's actually a math equation. The math will work out sooner or later. You can kick the can down the road only so long.
So I have to ask you, this book, why this title? What does building a money machine actually mean? Because it sounds so sexy, and I think everyone wants to build a money machine.
So for me, the title wasn't created. The concept of the money machine came out at the hands of a 6-year-old, believe it or not.
Really?
So, yeah, so I was a single full-time dad raising my son from 5.5 on. And I was building my business. I was doing what entrepreneurs do. You're on the treadmill, you're running, you're doing all the things. And all of a sudden you got cash flow and money's coming in. You got clients and everything seems to be hitting and you think you're doing the right thing. And then Jeremy comes running in and he says, Daddy, I drew a picture of you at school today. And so I kneel down thinking I'm going to see this picture of him and I playing ball or at Disneyland or having fun. And the picture was me in blue felt tip pen staring at 2 computer screens with a phone in each ear and another one on the desk screen.
Oh, shit.
And it was this mirror into my soul that the greatest gift that I was given, and that was to be a dad, to be a parent, and responsibility, I was failing at. And no matter how much money I made, I could have looked at him and said, "Kid, we need the profits because that's what puts the roof over our heads, gets us to do the things and all of that stuff." But if at 5.5, 6 years old, he understood what profits were, I think he would have looked at me and says, "Dad, I don't need your profits. I need your presence."
Yeah. Oh,
and so, it tore me up inside. And that's when I started to sit back and say, until I have a way to separate my ability to earn from the efforts to earn it, I will always be imprisoned by the chase for money. And so so that's when I started thinking about how do I separate the efforts to earn it over time, because we grew up to go get a job, go build a business, but we're running on the treadmill all the time. And so we have to be actively involved. And then they say, oh, get multiple streams of income. So now you're running on 2 treadmills. And you go, wait a second, I can't do that. And what are you sacrificing? You're sacrificing family, relationships, health, quality of life, all the things. And I'm cool with it in a season.
Yes, my friend.
If that's my existence for the rest of my life, then what are we doing? And so that's what kind of gave birth to the concept of the money machine. But what showed me the importance of it was in 2019, they found what they thought was a 5-centimeter tumor in my bladder. It turned out to be 7.5 centimeters. They looked at me and they said, you've got cancer. We might have to remove the prostate. We might have to put a bag and a tube in for the kidney. If it's bad, you're going to lose your bladder. And let's face it, it's cancer. So your life's on the line. So like all the things I was doing, I'm like going, it doesn't matter. I wanted to be around. I wanted to. So I sat with my son and my wife and I said, and my daughter-in-law, I said, I'm shutting everything down. I'm not work. All the stuff where I got to be on the trail, I'm getting off the treadmill. And I talked to my wealth team and I said, turn the machine on. What we did, what I was building over the years was just continuing to build and build and build. And I said, let the cash come to me now. Don't drain the machine. Don't spend it all, but let the cash come to me, separate. Because what that allowed me to do was then I could be 100% focused. It was a blessing. It was a gift. It was a privilege. But it showed the importance of it because I could be solely focused on fighting this demon called cancer. And because I don't know how I would have done if I had to work for a living during the day and fight for my life during the night. I just don't know that I would have done okay.
Wow.
And this allowed me the gift of being able to say, I'm done. I'm okay. Let's just focus on healing. And so that's the power of it. It really showed its face in 2019, 2020. And then once I'm 3 surgeries, 4 tumors, 57 treatments. I'm as of last month, 4 years clear. And I still have all the body parts, but thank you. And now I can turn things back on again.
Oh my God.
And the other thing is that when I started to turn things back on, I started to look at it and say, well, do I want to turn everything back on? No, there's some things I want to do in this season of my life to give, to serve, to do. And so I had choice. So I think the other thing that the money machine does is it gives us a life that we can say, I get to live instead of I have to live. A life that we get to choose and not have demands choose for us. And so that's where it all started to come about, to say, okay, how can we craft this? How can we do this? And like my son is 34 now. His wife's 32. Gosh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Two little a 3-year-old granddaughter, a 1-year-old granddaughter.
Gorgeous.
His brainwashing started at 10 years old. He's got, they've got 3 homes and a multi-million-dollar net worth. So the principles work no matter what.
Okay. I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Can we have 17 hours, first of all? Because you have such a story. Literally, like you have such a story and such a life. And I really believe that when these difficult things in life happen to us or happen for us, it wakes us up from the dream. Like we're like, what really matters? What doesn't matter? How did you go? Some people go, fuck it, fuck business and money and everything. It's only my family, and go into almost like family and memory scarcity and forget about, I can still have business. I can still do it, just not as hardcore. I can turn on the machine and still be with my family. Like, what was it in you that made you go, I'm not like bombing the whole thing and never going back and almost hating it because you got cancer? What made you go back into the business and want to do it while still healing and being with family?
So this is a great question, and it came from a question that was posed to me. I struggled. So June of 2019, they diagnosed me. I went through a surgery July, another one in August, treatments. December, they say you're okay. April, I go in for a scope. I just kind of go in flippantly, not thinking anything, and they find another 2 tumors.
Oh, shit.
So it came back.
Yeah.
So I was spinning. I was spiraling because at that point I realized, oh, wait a second. And I started questioning what the rest of my life was going to be like. Is this what I'm going to be in for? Constant surgeries, constant. And so months after that, I was still struggling, trying to figure out why I got the cancer. Who did I piss off? What did I do? Who did I wrong? I'm not a smoker, not a drinker. I lived a good life. I thought I was a good person. So I was struggling with it. And I was having a conversation. I was walking on the beach on the phone with someone that I'm real close to. And he said, "You're still looking for something in your past." And I said, yeah. He says, "What if the reason you got the cancer isn't because of something you did, but it was because of something you're meant to do? What's the message in it?"
Ooh, who's that friend? Go ahead. That was amazing.
Oh my God. Because that's where this all kind of came from, because I said, well, I fought the cancer physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically, but I didn't fight it financially.
Ooh.
And I realized that so many people fought right after I got cancer during the pandemic financially. But had they had a money machine, had they done what I did, and understood some core principles and used the right behaviors, they too would have been okay. And so I said, and so whether it is or it isn't, it is now, and it is allowing me to heal and give value to the cancer and say, it's now a positive in my life.
Wow. You had so many choices that you could have made. And I read in the part of your book where you're like, I could give up or I could fight this thing. And I love that you had people around you, your family, friends, mentors. I'm sure you've invested in yourself so much to continue to grow, to see it as a gift and choose to use it to do this. And now all of y'all that get the book, we're going to link it in the show notes, can now actually build your own money machine. And I think that, what a beautiful way to flip difficulty. What a beautiful way to share all your years of experience. Because where did you learn about money, and where did you know that you had that first interest in wanting to do this?
So you would think as a CPA, as an accountant, you would learn about money. But all the education for my accounting license and everything, it taught me to get an accounting job. That it didn't teach me about money. I think that why I started to get curious about money was because of necessity. Is I started to look at it and say, if I'm ever going to be able to choose my own path, I needed to have the tool called money. And I say that deliberately, because if we're chasing money for the sake of having money, it's an empty pursuit. And so we always attach it to life. And so it's a tool to allow me choice. It's a tool to allow me mission and movements and getting behind things. And it's a tool to allow me to live the richest life possible. And when I say rich, I mean with experiences, feelings, and people, and not stuff. And so I felt necessity because of being a single dad and wanting to be a good dad and have that relationship and wanting to do things more in my life than just work a 9 to 5.
I think it's so powerful that I was reading that you were sharing about your legacy, about being a full-time, single dad. Can you explain a little bit more about what that meant for you? Because I love that you say something around not living a leaving a legacy, but living a legacy. And I was like, I highlighted that. I was like, this is amazing. Can you speak on that? Because I love that.
when people talk about legacy, they say, I want to, and they'll come to me and they go, I say, why do you want to build wealth? They say, I want to leave a legacy. I go, oh, so we have to die to make a difference? It doesn't make sense. So, but the reality is stuff isn't your legacy. Even if it's a name on a building, it's not your legacy. Our legacy is much smaller, but yet much bigger. And what the legacy is, what I realized is that it's the little things we do each and every day, the moments in which we interact with people that create legacy, because we have the opportunity to shift and change a life. And when we stack the moments together, what we end up doing is creating legacy each and every day. It's how we live it. So legacy isn't what we build to leave for someone. Legacy is what we do and live to leave in someone. And so I look at Jeremy and I say, who has, like, my greatest pride, my greatest proud success is seeing him now as a husband, as a man, as a father to these two little girls, and how he shows up in life. I go, I could have a lot of money in the bank account, and if he was a schmuck, I didn't do so well.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking with a dear friend of mine, and her daughter's off in college, but she came home and I remember when she was a little girl, and she's this amazing chef and all that stuff. And I said, they're our proudest success.
Yeah.
No matter what we do anywhere else, we left something inside them. But it doesn't have to be a child. You could literally, like, I was waiting to pick up my wife from the airport, and I took my dog with me, and I was waiting for the plane. So I'm in this little strip shopping center with these stores, and I got him on the grass area. And this guy walks out, and he is carrying food to the car, and he looks at me and he said, "Is it okay if I pet your dog? I had a rough day and I could use some puppy love." And I go, "Sure." And he played with Budo for just a little bit. And then he says, "Thank you," with a smile, gets in his car. I don't know his name. I don't know anything. But we have the opportunity to affect someone's life. And if all they do is get a glimpse in that moment to say that there's goodness in the world, we can change it. I had a martial arts studio, and I remember a kid that was getting ready for his black belt, and he came in tears. And I said, "What's up?" And he said, "I just want my dad to say he's proud of me one." I'm like, little things that we leave in someone is what our legacy is. And the money, the finances allow us to do more of those little things, to have choice to do more of those little things, to spread the little things, and know that it's not for recognition, it's for impact.
You have such an amazing take, a take that I haven't heard anyone speak about when it comes to money. And just even following you on social media and listening to your lives that you do and reading the bits of the book, it's like, it's so refreshing because it doesn't make it so it's for these people over here. It's for the Wall Street people. It's for, super rich people. You talk about money in such a way that makes it so relatable to everyone and accessible and about what we can create with it. So just thank you for doing that, because for me, I didn't grow up with money. I grew up poor on food stamps, and I didn't have any good money mentors. I had all the bad money beliefs I had to get rid of. And I know you talk about that in the book as well. But it's so important now that we have children and those that we impact, the people that follow us or that we influence. And I know in the book you speak about money things with your kids, conversation starters with couples and conversation starters with kids. Can you speak about that? Because I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. They're the best boys ever. And these are the prime ages where I can brainwash them. So help me.
Yeah, so good. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I did with Jeremy. I think some people are reluctant to talk about, people are reluctant to talk about money at all.
Yeah.
It's like, it's taboo. But there's studies out there. There's a study from the American Psychological Association that says 72% of people say they're stressed about money. 22% say it's extreme stress. So they tell you, don't talk about it, but we're stressed about it. How do we solve it? Well, I want this book to be the opening volley to the conversation. And they say, well, don't talk about money in front of your kids. because, then it's about stuff and materialistic and all that stuff. No.
Mm.
Using money as a vehicle to teach them values, to teach them value, to teach them responsibility, to open up a conversation about service, about generosity, about doing things and responsibility is huge. So Jeremy, around 10 years old, I started to pay him a commission. Wasn't a lot. It was $125, $150 a month. But from that, he had to hit 4 buckets. He had to giving, saving, investing, and living. And the reason I chose those 4 is because each of them allowed me to have conversations and instill values into him. And then with the investing, I at one point then said, all right, for every dollar you put in, I'm going to match it. And now he's starting to see it grow faster. But now we could talk about why generosity. What's the mission? What's the movement? What is near and dear to you? Why does this matter? And those kinds of things. Then savings. So he can have, he gets a flat tire on his bike. He can take care of it. Like I would take care of it anyways, but
of course, yeah.
But it was about having those conversations and allowing him every once in a while to have to take care of something himself. Investing, watching and understanding, not complex investing, but just to understand the power of time, the power of money, and then living. He's going to have to prioritize. He's paying for his lunches. He might want to get this toy, those kinds of things. So it opened up a conversation that allowed us to, and then I would bring him to once a year when he was younger, I would bring him to my meeting with my wealth team. Now, he didn't understand the numbers. We didn't go through all the numbers, but I wanted him to understand the thinking. I wanted him to understand a little bit about what it is. And so I brought him along every step of the way and did it that way. And I think that we have the opportunity with our youth and to give them tools that can rid them of the stresses that we might be feeling today financially. There's a kid, he was 16 and a half years old when he joined one of my programs. It was a year ago. And literally about 8-9 months ago, we're on one of the calls and he says, I got a job. What do I do? So I told him to open up what's called a Roth IRA here. And he said, okay. So about 4 weeks ago, we're on another call and he says, I funded my Roth IRA. I put money in it, but I don't know how to invest it. And I said, all right, how old are you now? He says, I'm 18 now. I said, great. How much did you put in? Now I'm thinking he's 18. What did he put? $500, $1,000, maybe? He says, I fully funded 2023's maximum and I already funded 2024. So a Roth IRA in the United States, you can put $6,500 in for 2023 and $7,000 for 2024. I said, you're telling me at 18 years old, you put $13,500 away. He says, yeah, I live at home. Wow. I don't have any expenses. Oh, let me do the math for you. Every dollar you put away at 18 years old, just into an index fund, and by the time you get to retirement age, will go up 107 times.
Wow.
So I said, you're already a millionaire. You'll have $1.2, $1.3 million if you did nothing more, but we are going to keep going. The only thing we have to avoid is we have to avoid stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine for a moment our ability to get our kids to do what my son is doing or to do what Henry's doing early on. By 25, they're done.
Yeah.
And the machine works for themselves. And that's why the subtitle of the book is to get your money to work harder for you than you did for it.
Wow.
And so it becomes magical for our youth.
That is incredible.
And I think one of the greatest gifts we can give our kids is the ability to be financially independent. The second greatest gift is for us to become financially independent, because if they're independent and we're independent, Ain't no one showing up on the doorstep saying, I need the couch because I can't afford to live.
Yeah, because it's a real thing when you get like now I'm 41 this year and my mom's 69 and my husband's parents are in their late 70s, 80s, and nobody talks about how like shit, they're declining. And then we're looking after young 6 and 9-year-old kids. We've got 2 businesses, aging parents, and it's like, wow, like if you don't have that financial freedom and you don't have that backup, it's a lot. There's a lot you got to be responsible for.
My mom has been on dialysis 6 years. She's 90 years old. She's in a care facility. That care facility costs $15,000 a month.
Shit, Mel. Damn.
And she's like going, do I have enough money? I go, you're okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
you're fine.
That's beautiful.
And we get a chance to do things like that. Now, look, it sounds all rosy, but it takes discipline. It takes work. You got to you got to stay in the game, and you got to fight the peer pressure. You got to fight the media, the social media, the TikTokers that are telling you you live for today. Your tomorrow's coming either way. You might want to just take a little bit to care for your tomorrow.
What can you tell me real quick before we wrap this up? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just one thing that I think is important. I am not one of those, and you'll read that in the book. I'm not one of those that says you live on, noodles until you establish yourself. Because here's the thing that I realize: if you don't enjoy the path to financial freedom, you will not enjoy the destination of financial freedom. You haven't trained yourself to do it. And so wealth creation is a behavior. It is more a behavior than it is about money. And so one of the things that I tell people to do is I said, I want you to, as you create the vision for your life and the plan, I want you to figure out what your top 3, maximum 4 sustainable joy points are. The things that last, the things like my wife and I love to travel. So that's a priority in our plan. That's a priority to make sure it's there. Versus what a lot of people are doing is they see things and they let temptation bring in momentary pleasures that they can't afford, and they spend money on it. And then the feeling is fleeting. Yeah. And so if we can make sure that we have these visceral joy points in our life, in our financial plan, as we're building it in, we actually create this joy that carries us during the disciplined times while we're trying to build something. And we can still enjoy some of the momentary pleasures as we can afford it, but we're not going to finance it, and we're not going to erode our future to do that.
That is so true, because it's short time thinking, isn't it? It's like, I made this money and this is my money for right now. And they don't think about the lifetime. I love even how you say your money is your employee, like treat it like your employee. And I'm like, there's such a crazy energy when it comes to money, and us being like, I don't know, that scarcity of like, I need to do these things and I need to buy stuff. And you're right, stuff doesn't do anything for us. And it is having that discipline. What do you see? What are some of the habits that you see that maybe those listening today can go, if you're doing this, this is silly. If you're doing this, stop. If you're doing this, this is not building, like the opposite of building a money machine.
Yeah. There's a couple things. I think the first thing is if you're not operating with a plan. Now, some people will call it a budget. I don't like the word budget because it feels like deprivation.
Yeah.
I like a plan because it is permission. And here's why. And you mentioned employees. If I'm going to bring 10 people in and hire them, can you imagine bringing 10 people into your companies and they're in the conference room and you say, hey, here's the deal. You'll notice we do things differently. I have no job description. I have no job titles. I have no goals. I have no tasks. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I want to double my business in the next 12 months. Like, it's not going to work. But that's what we're doing with our money. What we do is we allow the money to come into our world, and then we allow temptation to decide what to do with it. What we need to do, just like hiring an employee, is put a plan in place so every dollar that comes in has a job description, whether it's for the mortgage, the rent, the entertainment, the clothes, whatever it is. It has a job description, and the most powerful thing is that you do it before it's ever earned, because that keeps temptation at bay. And so if you're not planning the use of your dollars before they come into your life, then you're going to be susceptible to temptation, whims, marketing. There's a reason I got a $900 coffee maker in that kitchen. I swiped the wrong way on Instagram, you know,
at midnight.
So I'm not exempt from it.
Yeah. It's so true.
But that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing, I think, is to sit back and say, oh, I have time. You don't have time. Time's your greatest lever. Think about this. Your first $100,000 is the most difficult because you have to develop the skills, you have to develop the habits, you've got to develop the discipline. It's the most difficult. If I put $10,000 away at 8% every year, it would take me 7.6 years to hit that first 100,000. Let's say I want to get to $1 million. So I'm going to keep putting $10,000 away at 8%. It'll take me 20.6 years to get to $500,000.
Wow.
So 20.6 years. But I want to get to $1 million. I have $500,000. I'm only halfway there. Do you know that the next $500,000, because your money's working harder for you than you did for it, only takes 7.5 years?
Wow.
It takes less time to do that than it did for you to get your first 100,000.
Shit.
Get in the game. Time is your friend. The more time you have, the less money you need. The less time you have, the more money you need. So I think those are probably the two biggest things, is that we're waiting, we're delaying, we call it retirement, so I have time. No. Today, peace of mind, today.
Yeah.
And the third is to follow a process, which we have the wealth priority ladder in the book. So you know specifically how to use your dollars in a certain priority that that minimizes risks, maximizes safety and returns.
The bomb. And like, I love that about the book because it's a step-by-step process. So people are listening and going, where do I go and order this right now? We're going to give you all the details. Don't you worry. It's so exciting though, because you've built something that's actually going to teach people step by step. You don't need to be a CPA to understand because of the way you teach and the way that you speak and what you write. And I love that. And I feel like you being a dad and being able to explain these things to your children, it makes it so easy for everyday people to learn this. And especially if you have this idea that that's not for me. Because I had this like, oh, I don't know. I sucked at math, Mel, really bad at math, which I think is a problem. If you suck at math, it's going to be a bit hard for you with money because you just think it's not for you. And so I was just like, I did a podcast called Don't Be the Cute Dumb Girl. And it's basically like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know about money. Like, seriously, that was me. And I'm like, oh, my husband does that. And I say to ladies, listen, you need to lean in. You need to go, I don't understand. I ask my accountant all the questions, Mel, and my husband sits there patiently going, are you serious? And I'm like, I have to understand this shit because if I don't understand it, I'm going to put it in the too hard basket. Then I'm not going to create the wealth and I'm not going to take responsibility for it. So it's what you've done, what you've built with this book. It's so needed. It's perfect freaking timing. I mean, I'm just so excited about it.
Thank you. What you're saying really means a lot because when I wrote it, the biggest thing is I said it needs to be accessible. It needs to be understandable. It needs to be simple. It can't look like another money book. It can't feel stuff. Like 65% of my audience is ladies, and I want them to be empowered. I want them to feel in control and have the conversations, and I want it to be safe and all that. And that's why there's so many stories and the drawings and like making sure that the drawings, they're all hand drawn kind of feeling. Like my editor was like going, I told them, when we're done with this book, they got to feel that they had a conversation with me over a coffee on the couch. So they left in things like the LOLs and the y'alls and things like that. I said, don't take them out. I get it. Your editors are going to go crazy because it's horrible English.
Yeah. It's good though,
but
because
I said, don't edit my voice out of this.
Yeah, yeah. And it's important. I love that because it almost feels like when I was reading it, it feels like I'm having a coaching session with you, and I'm with you and you're just telling me stories and I'm learning. And this book was definitely made for somebody like me who pushed money away for a long time and thought, I'm not smart enough, I'm not educated, I'm not from a rich background, a rich dad, poor dad. And I'm like, I'm screwed. I didn't have a rich dad. It's like, no, that's not true. You know, you can be your own rich dad.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel, I have to say thank you so much for the work that you do. You are an absolute legend. Your humility is my favorite because on Instagram, when you go for your walks with your dogs in the morning and you show up on stories, you are so kind. And I know that you have built an incredibly amazing, successful business and you're like friends with all these big ass, amazing influencer people. But you are so like the guy next door who is kind and amazing. And just, I really value that about you. And I think it's really lovely. So thank you so much. For anyone listening, where can we get the book? How do we join all your programs and learn about all the things that you do?
Awesome. So you get the book by going to yourmoneymachinebook.com. Okay. On there, you'll have links to booksellers. But the reason I want you to go there is then you can put your information in once you buy the book. And I'm going to give you some gifts and some things to allow you to get this in your life faster. So once I realized it's more important. Look, I want you to buy the book, but buying the book might put me on some bestseller list that really doesn't matter. Okay. It's going to put a few bucks in probably Jeff Bezos' pocket. He doesn't need it. Okay. You know, reading the book will give you hope. It'll give you a pathway and it might soothe you a little bit, but doing the book will change your life. And so what I ended up doing is I also created a companion workbook action guide to help you do the things in the book. And I added and created a second guide, which is a book club guide. So if you want to do it as a community and do it as a group, it tells you how to run the book club. It's got the questions for each chapter. And if you have enough folks and you let me know, maybe there's a chance that I jump in and do a Q&A with your group. So the idea here is this. Book comes out June 11th, like we said, but that's the beginning of your journey.
Yeah.
And now I want to make sure that you do it, because if you do it, then we change lives. And so that's where I would go. My Instagram is Mel Abraham 9. Mel Abraham on YouTube. And I truly believe that financial freedom is everyone's birthright. We just got to go claim it. But in order to do that, we have to start having the conversations.
And thank you for having this conversation, because honestly, this book and this workbook, I'm just going to finish this call and go head to your website right now myself, because I'm so excited. I love, like, don't read the book, do the book, like be the book, become the book, because the content in this book honestly can absolutely change your life. Mel, thank you so freaking much for being here. And I cannot wait to see this book in all of your hands. Tag us in stories if you do love this episode. Tag Mel, tag myself, and over to you. I'm so excited to see you build your money machine.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me. This was a blessing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much for listening. I freaking love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your ears and your energy and your attention. Thank you for letting me into your world. And thank you so much for listening and tuning in to this podcast. There are so many podcasts you can listen to, and I deeply, deeply, for real, appreciate you listening to mine. Do me one big favor, one big thing. Please share this episode or this podcast with a woman who you know needs to hear this. This is my mission on planet Earth, to serve as many women as possible so that we could show up, stand up, speak up, and create the confidence and the life that we desire. I appreciate you, my love. I will see you on the next episode.